Yeah. I got a question. Does your fastball normally cut in general?
No.
Okay.
Usually it's like, well, so my ride's way down this year.
Yeah.
I was averaging like 16.5. Usually I'm like 18 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. Like usually it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm usually, I do one at 17 and 17 this year. But I'm usually like 17 and 12.
17 and 12.
It's usually a pretty good. Like,
And that's where I wondered, because like looking back, you're like in the past too, it's like you've also had almost like sinker profile as well.
Right.
And
like
it's like a ride sinker.
Right.
And that's why like I'm curious is like too with the bias that you do have, so like ability to like really good cutters, I mean not cutters, your splitter though, like the one you sent me, it's almost like you cut it and then it works.
Right.
So now
you're almost getting underneath it.
Yes.
And, yeah.
And that's why I have almost that thought, the bias with like a seam shift principle with the sinker itself, or like a hybrid, like, or a straight two seam. Because if like there was some that I pulled that were like 4 and 20, or like 4, 15 and 18, right? That were sick, and that like those were some at like 92 to 95.
Right.
So I'm almost curious like how that shape works, because then you're like looking at the plot, it's almost just like, again, like just like a little bit cut almost. Now granted the ride is there, but
Right.
it's like what happens if maybe we throw sinker and then that thing takes off at the same velocity there.
I've tried to throw sinkers and they never work, but
Never
I'm
work?
totally up for it.
Just try. So what I want you to do, this is kind of like one that I developed, very similar actually to the way like movement wise that we both have, is like supinated bias. So I think like one thing that you could do is like, okay, hey, boom, I'm just gonna rip it from there.
Just throw it like a fastball.
Yep.
Just like this.
Yep. And then you can think like, I'm controlling the seams there, it's a boom.
Down
And then,
there?
yep. Or you can think like on the side too, like if not there or a little bit behind it.
That's kind of how I throw my splitter when I throw it there.
Yeah. Do you feel like you kind of like push that almost?
So like I was too behind it.
Yeah. Just think like shift axis, ball there, and then I'm just gonna repeat from there, rip. Just see. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Now if we kill it about 2 more inches. So yeah, widen that there. And like there, yeah. Ooh. Close. That one carried just a bit. How's it feel in the hand?
A little awkward, but
awkward.
I just got it that pitch, so.
Yeah. I almost wondered too if you might be good given like that finger situation.
Yeah.
Is like just close the gap on one side of the ball.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Just index on this finger.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
throw it like a heater.
Yep.
This feels awesome.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. How'd that one feel?
A little weird, but rather
I
good.
feel like the idea is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're getting that like ability for it to just dive back in, more horizontal, killing the vert, etc. there. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think too, especially like when you get to that like almost max intent state, is that that's going to even dive even more. You know what I mean? So I think that that's actually encouraging. Let's go to that splitter.
Like to me, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
Like I want 0 and under is like my good.
Yeah.
But like I thought the action was there. It looked
Yes.
good. I tested it.
See if you can't widen the fingers even more.
Yes.
Yep. And then like with that thought in mind is like cut it. So like being underneath it and then let it work from there. Like don't think like, oh, I'm gonna try to pronate it by any means, but you wanna catch from this seam here. So that way when you come across, right, pull to then as you pronate, boom, it's gonna do kind of that comeback mechanism there.
Get under it and it looks weird.
Yeah, that one like, it was like you went from straight underneath there versus like, yeah. Don't think so much like raise it, but just think like from there I'm trying to cut down on it. Oh. That was the depth. It wasn't gonna read because it kind of hit the ground. So
that looked.
that was
That one
depthy. So I would just say like rip it at the mass. Like think ripping it at the mass. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
And it's okay that it does that. Like, I think, like, looking at it is, if you're gonna cut the splitter, right, that makes sense. Like, that's approaching that zero line there.
Right.
Now it's just like, hey, as I get through it more, I'm gonna trust. Let's go heater, then back to it, see if we can't get it to catch. Yeah. That was a 4-seam there?
Yeah.
Back to that split. What do you feel like the difference was on that one?
No idea.
To me, it just looked like you tried to like guide it in there versus like the last one, like you got through that thing, let it rip, and that's when it got that true nice depth to it. Yes, dude, good. There we go. There we go. Let's go, see, you're at 18. Let's get a couple sliders in. Now, was that more of like the slider thought, or like you thinking of the cutter thought there?
No, that's more a slider thought.
The slider thought right there?
It's
not bad.
It's not that horizontal. It's usually around like 2200 type.
2 zeros. I mean, that's not bad. I think 2 is like, I think maybe just like a little bit more intent here. See what that does. There.
Closer to normal.
Yeah.
But I only threw one time from this side the other day.
Yeah.
And I never saw the analytics of it, so maybe it's more horizontal now that I'm
Yeah.
kind of like coming across.
And I'll pull that outing too specifically. Let's go to the one where you think like cutter. Now when you do this, just think like slight pull down with the fingers, okay? Because like what you're also looking for in this aspect is that, to think like mirror principle, it's like straight across versus like, hey, can we get it to there, right?
You want it lower.
Yes, just a little bit.
Really? I thought you wanted
Just a
more
little,
vertical.
just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because like my good ones are like 9 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of where they want it.
Okay. That one kind of backed up, it looked like. Yeah. Now the fact that it's getting to the zero line is the goal. Like you want either at the zero line or slightly over from it. That was the backup one. But that's kind of the depth range there. Like I did see it, despite it kind of backed up a little bit, like it still kind of stayed true cut and had a little bit of dive there, so not bad. How did that one feel? I mean, I know.
It came out early and I was backed up.
Kind of like behind you there. I think like the important thing with these is like making sure that as we get across at the eyes, that's when we want to have the pull. We don't want to have the pull happen too early, yeah. I'll let you close out the last 4 here that you want. Let's go, yeah, to that 2-seam. Thing's hunting. Didn't read because of down. Yeah, let's go one more. How does that feel in the hand though?
Feels okay. Getting used to it.
Yeah. It's diving there. It's diving. Like, do you feel like you're trying to force anything at all with the hand?
I feel like naturally I want to get like that much. And I think that's why I'm.
Yeah, I would just say like really just trust it. Like you're just like really trust. Like rip just like fastball. If not, you can just think like, hey, okay, I'm gonna stay on this plane, rip from there.
I'm gonna try to move my thumb back over a little bit.
Yeah, see that. And I know too, the separator with that's gonna happen, like just looking at it here, very early. So then the arms here, as we get more closed, we're gonna be able to have something to leverage the pull. That's gonna delay the arm from casting out so early.
And my leg this year has been more open, like, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and that was something that I noticed, like I remember I was talking on the phone about it. Maybe cue yourself on this last one to just think like, close myself off, just a little bit. 4-seamer?
Yeah. Oh, did you want me to throw a 2-seamer there?
I want to see just one more. Hey, but that, I mean, that looked better directionally speaking. Yes.
Like to me, it looks like it's doing nothing. But that's just because I think my eye is like going with it. Like, I also feel like that way on like a baby slider. I can't really see it.
Mm-hmm.
But you like that?
That is sick. That's getting above big league average from like a sink perspective.
Really?
Yo, not like your average would be like 9 flat to 15.
Okay.
So it's like if you're getting it from 9, 17, if not like more, like I said, I think like as you're at that full intensity, there's going to be a lot more things telling on that front. But that where the fastball is currently, like that four seam, and again, this is like Submax thought, is that that's
Right.
kind of in the dead zone there.
Right.
But I think like your approach, because you're so funky, like from this slot here,
That's where I get there.
that's where I think you get kind of the separated difference there.
So my total spin's super down.
Yep.
Like usually it's like 23-ish. But yeah, it's weird that like this year it's just gone.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've done well.
Right.
Wrote it, like
Spinning
weird,
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like 18 and I'd be like 0, and that was what they wanted me to do, just that.
Kind of down in approach.
But
yeah.
that's where I think analytics struggles with, is where like, especially now, especially in AAA, like the ABS is like right here. So like I can't throw a fastball top of the zone.
Right.
It's a ball now. And I'm throwing splitters. I don't throw them for strikes. I throw them under the zone.
Yeah.
So like I was always finding myself 2-0, 3-0, 3-1. It's like I'm not throwing anything but strikes. So like now I try to like locate my fastball down, splitters to tunnel that, cutters to get them off, and sliders to steal strikes. Like that's to a righty.
And I think for me, like it's just about like matching the arsenal with like where it's going to work.
Right.
Right. So it's like, okay, if I can sink it 9+ at 91+, it's going to be good. Tunneling off the splitter there, more downward action, if not like the cut principle, to then the slider is going to work.
Right.
So I think it's just like finding that fine balance, and we'll get there, especially as you kind of get back into high intensity of like which fastball is actually going to work better for you, right, within the arsenal, right? And I think it's also taking into account is like what has been the best, and very simply put, it's like your usage, right? It's like the best pitch is for you has always been the splitter, right? So it's like, can we shift the usage to 50% more splitters? Maybe the fastball turns into 30%, and then your slider turns into like a 30 or 40 clip as well.
Yeah, like I was kind of wanting it to all be like 33%.
Yeah.
Like steal strikes, maybe back foot some righties. Lefties, obviously the slider's gonna be a little more used. But I still love throwing splitters to lefties and righties, and heaters like sneak up or like,
And I think like, and that's the point like of the relievers, like my thought process has shifted to where it's like, hey, we got to throw the best pitch that you got so you can get in and out with the most success, right? And it comes in, I think it's like what you were initially like coming up in affiliate ball, like, hey, you got to locate the fastball where like, hey, I can throw this hard. And now it's almost shifted like, what's going to get you outs at a very high clip, right? Your best pitch, we're going to throw that more, right? And then we're going to learn like, hey, this is where I need to locate fastball at that point, execute here to set up XYZ pitch. Even if like the fastball turns into a waste pitch, right? It's like, oh, I'm setting up the next pitch there. And I think you've had the success with the splitter kind of on both sides of the dish, whether it's a righty or a lefty. So it's about like leveraging that. And I think like that's the way we can view it, is like, what's going to be the leverage point that's going to get outs quick, keep me where I need to be in the show, right, to then building on that.
For sure.
I think that's good. Questions?
No, I'm good.
Good there. Thank you, sir.